NottsRockCast is an association with Regular Riot. Welcome to NottsRockCast, the Notts Alternative Scene podcast. And here is your host, Jethro D, bringing you everything Notts and rock.
Right, welcome back to another episode of NottsRockCast, NRC-004, not 003, because 003 I pronounced as 002. Anyway, check us out, give us a like and share, and make sure you hit that subscribe button and ding that cowbell. I'm going to call it cowbell. I'm going to put in a cowbell next time. Let's get on with the chat. Right, welcome to NottsRockCast interview with Mathew Wilson from the Rucksack Project, Nottingham 2018. Say hello, Mathew.
Hello.
Is that how you want me to pronounce you, or do you want me to still call you Matt?
Call me Matt.
All right, I'll call you Matt. He has organised the Nottingham Rucksack Project for Nottingham for quite a few years now. I had heard about this possibly 3-4 years ago. How long have you actually been doing it?
This will be, I think, my 6th or 7th year. I think it's the 6th.
Cool. Right. Do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a bit more about what you do?
Me personally, well, I feel like I'm on blind date. I'm Matt, I'm 32, I'm from Nottingham. Yeah, the Rucksack Project is something I've been running for about 6-7 years. It started an awful long time ago, following a personal experience of a friend that I found was in need. He kept it rather quiet, he'd been on the streets for a while. And it really
that's a bit of a shame.
Well, exactly. And this wasn't in Nottingham, this was down south. He'd gone down then to start a life anew, try and make something of himself. And
yeah,
he basically, it didn't go well. And he came back to Nottingham, head between his legs thinking, he told us all what happened. And I couldn't believe that someone so close to my heart and someone I really called a true friend and still do to this day, found himself in such a hard situation. And I thought to myself, well, I can't let this happen, because any person on the streets that we see today could be that person to, person A, B, C. That could have been their best mate, their brother, whatever the case may be. And I thought, well, I can't let this happen. If I can do something, I will.
Yeah, no, I saw you post it on Facebook the other day. We are actually friends outside of how we know him. But yeah, I saw you post it the other day, and BBC Nottingham radio station had actually done a thing where they had done a walk around. And in the space of an hour, they found about 19 people in not a big area, but about an area the size of Hockley, I think they said.
The thing, when I first got started, and I'll probably go through this a bit more detail later, I wasn't given a lot of support by a lot of, not I say local NGOs, but people who presumed to know more about the situation than they actually did.
Right.
In reality to that, I then contacted the Friary directly. And just this week, the Friary Amber Emler, she contacted me via email saying, "Are you going to run it this year? It'd be great if you could." I'm like, "Of course we are." And she goes, "Good. I've contacted you a couple of weeks in advance because we really need stuff. We have over 100 people coming into the Friary alone every day, requiring, items of clothing, food, medical checkups. That's 100 people a day. And that's just in West Bridgeford. And bear in mind that West Bridgeford, the Friary is a drop-in centre within that locality. That's not Nottinghamshire. That's not Nottingham City. That's just one drop-in centre, 100 people a day. And it's no surprise, you found 19, 20 people within a half a mile radius, because the situation is dire. It really is.
Would you say that it's getting worse?
Oh, yeah, totally. Of course it is. Yeah. I mean, let's not go into politics too much, but the current situation...
No, and if you haven't heard, you'll get a buzzword.
But the point being is the current political climate is not... it doesn't help people, to put it bluntly.
No, I can understand that one. Right, moving on with the podcast. Give us a quote of inspiration you've learned from your time in Notts.
Well, as probably previously stated, I don't know many philosophical kind of giants coming out of Nottingham. There's no Aristotle or anything, but I think it's less of a quote and more of a mantra. I think in Nottingham, the thing I've learned in my time being here is that you should always try and be yourself. It sounds really cheesy. Always try and be yourself, because there's always going to be someone and some people in your life that will always accept you for who you are. Don't try and pretend anything you're not. Yeah. And I think the wonderful thing about the alternative scene is that provides that exact environment.
Yes.
For example, I haven't got loads of tattoos. I'm not, I don't go around, proclaiming I know every single rock band on the planet. I'm not rocky as I am now. But tell you what, I feel so comfortable in the rock scene here because I'm accepted. You know,
No,
it's
that's
wonderful. You can
absolutely fine.
you can love all types of genres, all kind of rock music, and the point being is always try and be yourself.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I've actually stated that several times on the podcast itself. So for you to alliterate that is an absolute success, I think. And it does actually bode well for Nottingham.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so are you originally from Nottingham?
Yes, I am, yeah.
Oh, brilliant. I think you're the first person that is originally from Nottingham. Everyone loved to get involved. No, I believe Pixie is as well. No, so you're the second. Sorry about that. And she did actually touch on a subject that was close to what we're talking about today. She works a lot with Emmanuel House. Again,
Yes, I know.
just one drop-in centre in a big pond that is an issue that keeps seeming to come up and up and up.
Emmanuel House, I worked with them a couple of years ago, and the situation there is it's slightly different. They've got a canteen facility there. They've also got facilities where they can, I think some people can stay overnight there as well. It's an emergency shelter.
Yeah.
And yeah, those are as busy as the Friary. The situation is still quite dire, and it's also quite nice to hear that other people are also helping where they can.
Yeah.
Because you know we're all human. You've got a limited time on this planet. And if you see someone else in need and you oversee, you know, you overlook them, you ignore them,
Yeah.
you're just not doing the right thing.
No, I completely understand that. So what part of Notts are you from then?
Many.
Many.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Bestwood.
Yep.
The fine place that is Bestwood.
Yeah.
I moved into Arnold.
Yeah.
Then Sherwood. And then, fortunately, you know, situation with families happen and you find yourself in different locations. But then I moved down to university, down to Bedford and London Way.
Yeah.
Down there for a couple of years and moved back, and I was a fine citizen of Sneinton for quite a period of time. Very fond of the place.
That's interesting. Have you been to the city farm down there?
Do you know I haven't? And I'm annoyed because I keep because I know how close it is on Stonebridge Road, and now I really want to go down, but no, unfortunately, never made it.
I've just recently done a podcast with a chap called John Robertson, who I'm going to be playing after this one because unfortunately your Rucksack project is on the 18th.
Yes.
And if I released it before his sorry John, I am actually going to have to move this forward. I do actually want to get this out here as soon as possible and let people know about it because I think it's a worthwhile cause, and you put so much effort into it, and I see that, and I've seen that from day one. I think that was one of the defining features that everyone said about you, your just caringness.
That's a lot to do with, to be fair, the influences in my life. I think the old nature over nurture thing is always often to debate. But, you know, I was brought up by my grandmother, who's a wonderful woman, my mum, who's a very strong, independent person, you know, and together I've got that kind of fine combination, I think, of empathy. You know, I really want to help people if I can. Other personal circumstances, I suppose, always define you. Of course, your siblings.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think I've been surrounded by good people, and I think you are the sum of the parts. You're some of the people you know, or
Yes.
what's the point that bring you up.
No, that's brilliant. So, what is your profession?
I am a quantity surveyor.
Okay.
By profession. I do also do health and safety and construction. So something, you know, it's not exciting stuff, but it's a profession, it's a career.
Yeah. That's interesting. So, which company do you work for?
I work for a company called G&A Surveyors in West Bridgeford, hence why literally across the road from the Friary.
Oh, right,
So
okay.
I suppose that's why the situation, I thought to myself, I can do something about this. I'm literally across the road.
No, well, to be honest, people walk out their door, they don't really take a good long look about the place and see what's about sometimes.
You could say that about anyone in life. People walk around with their eyes wide shut, should we say.
Yeah.
You know, it's quite easy to overlook what's around you, but yeah.
Okay. Right. How did you get started with quantity surveying then?
Oh, Christ. If I print off a cover of my CV, but initially I trained as a personal trainer.
Oh, right.
So graduated in sports science many years ago.
Yep.
Came back to Nottingham to pursue it, and alas, I realised I wasn't really cut out for that kind of career. So I then worked for a financial company for many years. They went into administration due to many issues, and I was headhunted. So basically, the head of HR there said, "I think you're quite good at this, and we'll. What do you reckon to get into quantity surveying?" I'm like, "Well, why not? My options are somewhat limited at present, and 6 years on, that's what I do."
Oh, brilliant. Moving on, any special mentions or more details about yourself?
Don't really want to speak more about myself. It feels a bit selfish, but I think call that to obviously Anne Bremner. She runs the Friary and has been doing.
No, it's special mentions about yourself,
about
not
myself.
about. Yeah.
Special mentions about myself.
People have read that wrong again. Have you got any more special mentions about
myself?
you?
Oh wow.
I know you're into boxing.
Oh, I do like my boxing. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, as I did a bit of coaching down at the Portland Centre. Enjoyed that for a while.
Yeah.
We now have two, dare I say, more professional coaches. People have done very high level stuff.
Yeah.
So I box a couple of times a week. I used to fight Great Britain for Taekwondo back in the day.
Wow.
Okay. That was between 18 and only for a year. I went out to Mexico and fought out there for a bit. And otherwise, mate, I'm a fairly 10 years on. I'm a ale drinking, rock loving kind of 32-year-old bloke. There's nothing special about me anymore.
we are all human at the end of the day. But I didn't realise you did so much in the what can I call it? Fighting arts?
Well, I mean, when you grow up and you're about 13, you think to yourself, I could really do with getting you want to do something like sports, and I could have done badminton, I could have done football, but no, I didn't. I did Taekwondo, and I think that's all it is. It's just you find yourself going into different kind of things because you've already got the skill set. Yeah. So, for example, say if you started playing rugby at a young age, every possibility you might get into football later on, and you probably play five-a-side with your mates when your late 20s. Yeah, it's no different than that. I've just followed it through a bit more.
No, I think that's brilliant. It's giving you focus at the end of the day, I'm guessing.
It gave me focus, but also I've always liked to keep myself reasonably fit, and I think it's always given me a reason to do that. I think I've always been trying to keep myself as healthy as I can because age isn't kind to anyone.
No,
and I think exercise is good for the soul and good for your body.
Yeah, and I think as we said before we started the interview, when you hit 30, your energy levels drop slightly. So I've stopped going out till 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm now coming home at 12.
I tell you what, I go to some gigs now, and I'm thoroughly enjoying the gig. But I'm going, my feet are really hurting. I could do with a stretch. When we're going home, it's.
Oh dear.
I know. I'm only 30 odd. Jesus.
Right. What hurdles did you personally face, and how did you overcome them?
Oh, it's deep. Right. Okay. Well, in regards to the Rucksack project, initially when I first started doing that, there was a couple of NGOs and charities who weren't that supportive. In fact, they were downright. They just weren't supportive in the bloody slightest.
Can I ask what an NGO is?
A non-government organisation.
Oh,
so,
right,
for example, people I approached, because this is me doing this. I didn't know how to do it. What was the best way of doing it at all? There's certain things you have to follow. So I contacted them for support, for information, and they were not helpful. Honestly, some of the I won't mention them on air. It's not really fair. So, but the point being is those particular organisations at that time when me starting up weren't supportive, and they instead of helping me, they threw obstacles in the way. They said, "Well, you're advocating a life on the streets. We're not helping you. We don't think you're doing the right thing." And I felt really quite downhearted. So I'm thinking, all I'm trying to do is ensure that the people. I'm not going to go out there and have like £20 notes and even try and sort out the problems that I believe that correct government legislation should do. Help people get back on their feet. But instead of doing that, I simply want to hand out rucksacks, food, try and support the current systems that are keeping people, who are on the streets alive.
Yes.
And so in the end, I did approach the Friary directly, and they were overjoyed. They're like, "Yes, this is a brilliant idea. Please, when we can get going." Okay. And so it just annoyed me. These charities that are so-called meant to be there for the organisation, for homeless people and vulnerable people, weren't as supportive as they could have been. Don't be wrong. This is many years ago now. I'm sure the people have changed, attitudes have changed, and maybe it's just the wrong people, the wrong day. But that was something else, and I could have quite easily been stopped in my tracks then. But I knew what I needed to do, and I did.
Yeah. No, you know what? I've had that situation before, not with homelessness issues, but when I've worked with engineering. I've got an engineering background. I've got a CAD background. And what I did is I approached a volunteer group for historic railways. And I said, look, I'm an engineer. I can fix things. I can build things. Is there any chance you want my skills and can help? Now, the person came back to me. He was the volunteer officer. And he basically said, no, we don't need anyone like that. I want people who are going to wait. I want bar staff. And I'm like, okay, so I've got a skill that's going to cost you £35,000 a year, and I'm going to give that for free. And it was a blatant no. And I don't understand the mentality.
it's hard to think about the psychology of I mean, this is just generally a life, not necessarily our two's perspectives, but you can develop a very sheltered perspective in life.
Yeah.
I think often, people can get very disgruntled with things in their own personal lives. And I think it clouds your judgment. It doesn't make you as open to other people as it should.
Yeah.
And it's not a healthy mentality.
No, definitely isn't. Right. Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to say about the Rucksack project before we come to the end of this half of the interview?
I suppose the more time I repeat when it's going to happen, the more probability people remember. But it's going to be done the 18th of December, Tuesday, at the Friary, which is just off Musters Road. And the drop-off is between 6 and 8 o'clock. So please bring along rucksacks full of clothing, warm clothing, scarves, hats, food, any food-wise, because you can store at the Friary, people to come in to be fed. And also toiletries, anything like that, because of course it's hygiene's as important as anything else. A big shout out also, if you've got any anyone out there, if you've got any shoes and you think to yourself, I've not worn these in 3 years, please donate them, because shoes are a really big problem at the moment. With the footwear, as you can imagine, is a big demand.
I'm not surprised on that, to be honest. From my personal view on that one, people are wearing their shoes a lot longer these days, because everyone keeps saying times is hard and all that, and they're wearing them so much longer. So basically, I think we could give a shout out to shops and stuff like that. We're a throwaway culture, and there must be somewhere out there that these shoes are not getting used, not going through the sale. Do you think there may be somewhere out there we could give a shout out to?
The problem with that, and I've tried over many years to secure, for example, at Decathlon, they did donate some bags and so on and so forth a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
There's been offers here and there of people, of companies that have supported it.
Yeah.
The problem is, I don't like doing a shout out for particular companies or in general, because I understand that there's a lot of red tape involved in that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And it's the bureaucracy surrounding it is, as much as I'm sure those people in those shops would like to donate, it's goodwill.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, profit is paramount when it comes to the society we live in now, and it wouldn't work.
I am kind of just asking you the questions.
Oh, I do apologise. Yeah, I've gone to a bit of a tirade there. But,
I mean more for the fact of let's. People are going to be asking these questions at home. So if I've got them on my mind, I'm going to ask. Whether I keep them in or not, we'll make that a decision.
Well, okay. I mean, for instance, if you listen to this podcast and you do own a clothing shop, or you have some kind of authority within your position in the shop, and you think there's something that you could donate, then that'd be great, and we'll have a shout out. We'll make it known that you've done that, because it's a really generous act. But once again, I'm not asking for commercial support unless you're willing. It's more just want people in Nottingham to come together and help those in need this time of year. It's all about your personal donations, about making a difference to someone.
I think that's brilliant, and the best way I can say to look at it, if you were going away for a weekend and you were going to pack a rucksack, I think that's the stuff you're looking for, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a fair one. That's a very good way of looking at it, actually. Yeah. Another one as well. If you have any dogs, if you've got any spare couple of tins of dog food you want to can hand out, something like that, or any kind of dog blankets, things like that would be grand. Because as it's obviously well seen at Nottingham. Some homeless people do have animals and dogs, and they also need to be catered for. If you're a dog lover and you fancy handing a couple of cans out, that'd be grand.
That's a very good point, to be honest. That people forget about the animals. It's a shame, really.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right then, we're going to listen to a local band, and then we'll be back with the second half, Not Some Rock. I did just say that we were going to put on some band music, but the YouTube channel, I can't actually put on the band music due to copyrights. So, get on the actual podcast on your favourite podcast player. Welcome back to the NottsRockCast interview with Mathew Wilson from the Rucksack Project, Nottingham. He's talking to us today about putting rucksacks together for homeless people. And there is a motto that you've got on your website. What is it?
Oh, God, the motto?
Come on, you wrote it on there.
I did. It's a little while ago, though, Jeffro. Let me think. Well, how long do you last in these temperatures, if that was you?
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, it's going to be about -2, -3. Ask yourself, when you're out there sitting on the streets, you've probably got the same clothes you've been wearing for 4 days, you're sodden.
Yeah.
And, you're looking at -2 temperatures overnight. There's been a number of deaths in the East Midlands for homeless people. It's not uncommon, and more will die.
Yeah.
So the simple provision, it sounds a bit daft, but the simple provision of just, a new set of clothing, somewhere to go and stay, having something to eat, it can make the difference between life and death. We are so privileged. We don't even realise.
I know I'm privileged. Put my hands up and go, I know I'm privileged because I live in a house with central heating. Every time that someone lives in a house that's got heating and says, I am cold, and puts the heating up, there are people that can't put the heating up.
Well, exactly. I mean, we think about the idea of homelessness as the, how shall I phrase this? Homelessness is the end product of a combination of many things that have gone, wrong, essentially.
Yeah.
The idea, it can start simply, you've missed your rent for a couple of months. Landlord wants you out.
Yeah.
You can't afford your heating, so the past 2 months you've been stuck in there, you're freezing. You've got no food in the cupboards.
Yeah.
What do? You've got no family in the area, you're stuck. You go on the streets. On the streets, you think to yourself, well, I've got to beg for some money, I'm struggling. I can't get into, DWP, what the case may be, because, you haven't got a fixed abode. You find yourself taking drugs, you think to yourself, well, I've got to, it's one way of trying to get, away from your current situation. It's no different than me and you going for a pint after a stressful day of work. The problem is you times that by 10. If you consider the dire straits people can find themselves in following a simple kind of unfortunate kind of accumulation of events.
Yeah.
And you think to yourself, oh, it's the thing to do because I find myself on the streets now. I'm not sure what to do. I'll grab a couple of tinnies and try and drink my sorrows away. And you'll find that everyone has that breaking point when they find themselves in a situation. So yeah, going back to the idea of the heating thing, it can start from simply, I've got like 20 quid to my name. I can't afford the heating. That soon goes, I can't afford the bills. That soon realise I'm out. Or then I'm on the streets. It's quite simple. I mean, I'm not going to...
it's a spiral.
It's a spiral. I mean, I'll be honest. A big shout out to Shelter.
Yeah.
Shelter and also Framework, because they've helped someone very, very close to me in the past year.
Yeah.
Who was...
I will actually put a link to both of them on the show notes
Thank
as
you,
well.
I appreciate it, because I mean, they both helped someone very, very close to me this year. Who found herself in a situation where it wasn't the fact there's family in the initial kind of area and could help out. That that we homed to put in a decent place, looked after her, got her back on her feet, sorted out the mental health side of things, and I could not be more grateful. But it just goes to show that without a particular support network such as the family, it could have gone horribly wrong. And even then, obviously Framework, who is renowned for helping out the homeless people get back on their feet, beat drug addiction. And all that happened with that was a couple of months of lost rent and unfortunately benefits not going through for a couple of months because of whatever reason and sanctions. And and I've known that happen to many of my friends.
I've known it over and over that people seem to get them, well, not seem, but they get themselves in this situation by missing something like a date. And it can be any reason. But it's not the reason that's the problem. It's when people turn up and say, look, I'm late, but then they knock it anyway.
It's not the reason, it's the result and the resulting consequence of that. And I think it's, like I say, I don't want to get bleeped out for the politics side of things, but once again, the current political environment is not helping the situation. And just to go back to the original points, I've known people who have gone in just a couple of months from missing a couple of rent payments to borderline being on the streets. And it's that quick. And so, when you think about, and you see someone in the streets, when you think about this project in general, you are helping essentially what is a stranger to you, but that person is a stranger to someone else, to the mate, it's the mum. It's people who, in my case, I've come to realise when I first started this project, are people that you never even knew, or probably even don't know, their history. They could have died in the streets, they fall in real hardship. And the irony, of course, is that I do this towards Christmas, not only because of the temperature and the fact it is getting into winter, it's because also, I'm not a religious man. It is the time of year when you do think about how lucky you are when you go and see your family at Christmas, and you get your presents and your iPod off your, fiancé, and, go and see the kids or whatever the case may be. There's some people out there who spend Christmas Day on the streets thinking, where did it all go wrong? And I think the simple provision of just getting, a decent pair of shoes, a decent meal, someone's going to get a shave, put a new pair of socks on, can give them hope. To realise actually, yes, there are people that do care. They're all good people. Yeah. Maybe I can sort this out. Maybe I can get myself back on my feet, and that's another big thing.
And help them make a turnaround in their life.
You can't perform miracles, and the idea of this isn't to perform miracles. It's just the idea is to give that someone a bit of hope.
Okay, I think that's very admirable. Hence why I've got you on and to talk about it. Right, moving on with our questions then. What do you love and enjoy about living in Notts? Not so much the alternative scene, but about Nottingham itself.
Generally speaking, Nottingham, it's what I described as a perfect-sized city, and I've been to a fair few in my time.
That is interesting. I've heard a few people say that, but no one on air yet.
Well, you can. It's all on air. I did an awful lot of work in Liverpool for many years,
Right.
I spent many days in there. And it was a wonderful city, same as Manchester, same as Birmingham. It's absolutely sprawling. But Nottingham, from an independent, not just because I'm from Nottingham, it's quite easy to be, kind of biased, but it's the perfect size city. You've got the main area itself not too big. You've got a couple of decent size. You've got Broadmarsh. You've got Victoria. It's nice. You've got a good balance. You've got you go out a bit further. You've got a couple of bars. You've got separate districts. It's like a mini New York. You've got like your district full of nice bars and place like that. You've got the ones up Derby Road. You've got the old pubs with the sandstone caves. And of course, you go a bit further out to maybe, for example, Minster. You've got your fantastic churches, your minsters, your abbeys.
Yeah, like history. In Southwell. No, Southall. I know.
But it's got so much.
Causing problems here.
It's also so accessible as well. I'm not the biggest fan of the tram network, but I'm saying it's helped an awful lot of people. And it's a great little city. You've got so much in such a small area, but you don't feel cramped. It's not. It's not too bad. And the second part I like about Nottingham is its architectural heritage.
Oh, okay.
And I tell you what, I mean, it's I'm on the Nottingham Local Access Forum, which sounds extraordinarily boring, but the idea is their sole goal is to keep people informed about the city, about the history. Go walking through it, look around, open your eyes, look up. For example, you've got some great architects in this city that have made it, an actual absolute gem.
Oh, cool!
Seriously, mate. Honestly, look up. Just try to think. Watson Fothergill, one of my favourite architects of Nottingham. And
how do you say that again?
Watson Fothergill.
Watson Fothergill.
He's an architect that has built an awful. I mean, I think over 100 buildings, or designed them at least, in Nottingham, and they're dotted throughout the entire city.
Oh, right.
Often the way to look at it is he often has two black brick bands across towards the eaves of the building where the roof is. You'll see a black kind of band of bricks across there, and that's often quite signature of him. There's obviously many different things. He's quite ornate. Yeah. But there's many buildings like that in Nottingham. You look up and they're fantastic, and also the history behind them. I mean, I did a massive study on the Sal, which is quite a fascinating place.
Because I know Jason at the moment's looking really deeply into the history now. So if you get in contact with him and give him as much information as possible,
he probably knows as much as I do. I mean, this is such a rich architectural history here, and also the fact it's the city of caves. I mean, it's up until the 1970s. People still living in caves. Maybe not in vast numbers, but certainly people still, living the kind of the sandstone. It's incredible.
Okay, so I will definitely in the show notes put up Watson Fothergill. Did I say it right?
You did, yeah.
Brilliant.
Good names for that then, didn't they?
Definitely. Put as much information in the show notes as possible, because sometimes you can listen to a podcast and you miss the links and the details and stuff. And I can quote and spell you out website details all day long, but it's going to make the podcast a bit boring for people, I think. So definitely check out the show notes at NottsRockCast.co.uk. So tell us a story or myth about Nottingham.
Well, okay. A myth about Nottingham. I can tell you a spooky story if you wish.
Yep, that's
okay. This what didn't happen to me. This is probably about. Well, it must have been about 10 years ago. I was working at it's during my gap year. I was working at a special school. Yeah. And one of the teaching assistants came in, and she was a lovely lady, quite well to do, well posh, but absolutely lovely, heart of gold. And she looked rather flustered. I was like, "What's the matter?" And she goes, "Well, my daughter, she works at the Galleries of Justice." Oh, right. And I'll stop with the voice now. And basically,
sorry, say that again.
I'll stop with me silly voice now. But she works.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. And she worked at the Galleries of Justice. Yeah. And that night, she'd gone to lock up just a couple of rooms, and you all have radios in there, obviously, to make contact. And the radio kept on buzzing, like as it does, sometimes. Yeah. She went to lock the door, just make sure there's no one in there before she shut out. And your radio would say you've locked the door. Yeah. Because it's renowned for hauntings, and it's just you all keeping together. And the door locked. She couldn't get it open. She was stuck in this classroom. Imagine like just a regular classroom. You take the kids in to give them a bit of an education about the area, about the the galleries and whatever. So a couple of basic school wooden tables around, and she couldn't get out. And they started to move around her, like properly, like this. Like you can't see me obviously on the podcast. Just imagine juddering around. And they went all over the place. Apparently they're going on the side of the walls, under the ceiling, all around, and just fell back into place. And the door opened, and she ran out and quit the next day. And the thing
I've just got goosebumps listening.
Honestly,
to that.
It was when she told me, and this is a no frills kind of woman who told me about her daughter doing it. She's only 19 at the time, and it's just quite spooky.
That is very, very spooky, to be honest. Right. Okay, moving on. What is your favourite part of Notts or Nottinghamshire?
I think my favourite part of Nottinghamshire is probably going to be. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be Southwell Minster.
Yeah?
Yeah, seriously. I mean, the history there is fantastic, and the architecture and just the whole kind of.
It's beautiful, I must admit.
It's absolutely beautiful. And yeah, so it's my favourite part of Nottinghamshire. Of Nottingham as a city itself, I'd say, and controversially, I'd say the park. And
Which park? Sorry.
The park is in the area of the park. The city's kind of region.
Yeah.
Because the architectural kind of heritage there is incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, they were built for all sorts of people, during the time. I mean, for example, that that tunnel leads from Derby Road that goes into the park. That huge cutout of a tunnel.
I will say, I saw this the other week on Notts Way Back When Facebook group.
Yep.
And I have not had chance to get up there and go and have a look.
It's quite something. They cut it through the sandstone to
Yeah.
allow. This is when they were building all the houses down there to allow the horses to drag the materials back and forth.
Oh,
The problem
right.
is it was never used. So they built this incredible kind of sandstone tunnel that was never used because the gradient was too deep for the horses to drag it back up. They couldn't do it.
Yeah, that's just up past Canning Circus.
Precisely.
Yeah.
But some of the houses down there.
Again, details in the show notes.
Yeah, some of the stuff, some of the architecture down there. During winter, sometimes you used to go jogging down there and just, lovely place. Really is.
Oh, I'm really gonna tell you something. Within the next month, I've got to pop down there. I've got to go and have a look. It looks fascinating from the photos, but to see the grandeur of actually how big this tunnel is going to be breathtaking, I believe.
It will be, yeah. I mean, there's so many of the little things down there. Some of these buildings are, late 19th, early 18th. The crazy kind of ages and the kind of opulence and the money that Nottingham had, and to a certain extent it still does.
Yeah.
But you'll often find the history of a city is in its buildings, and that's the key.
I completely agree with you on that one. The amount of cities I've been around in this country, and again, like we were saying earlier, people just keep their eyes wide shut and don't look up. I look up at buildings and I'll see, like you said, the eaves or whatever you call it, the fascias. A lot of the buildings you wouldn't even know had all these lovely statues and stuff like that.
Give you an example. Do you know what used to be Tropieros?
No.
No, okay. Well, there's that meat restaurant, or it used to be like old kind of Brazilian kind of meats and so on and so forth. And it's the old Hard Rock Cafe. You might remember it to be, actually.
Nope.
Wow, you know the old Hard Rock Cafe?
No,
Wow,
I don't remember that one.
Well, if you do look that up,
Whereabouts?
that's coming. Do you know where the Brian Clough statue is?
Yes.
Face it directly on. It's that building behind it.
Oh,
shaped like a V.
it's now Copper.
It's now a bar, Alchemist.
Yeah.
That used to be a cinema,
Oh, right.
and it goes downstairs into the basement where the showing rooms were.
Oh, wow. So there's a big room down there for a cinema then?
Exactly. Well, no longer, of course. It's now full of different rooms. And all sorts. That's what it once was. And of course, and you've got the Gentlemen's Club, which is opposite the Pit and Pendulum,
Yeah.
coming down the tram line side to side.
Yeah.
And that used to be the kind of the place to be outside of London up until 1920s, 30s.
Oh, really?
That was a proper gentleman's club. You go in there, there's a little barber's room where they've still got the original chair and he's managed to go in for a shave. And
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's quite
Again,
something.
I'm gonna be messaging you for the next couple of days, making sure I get all this information if I can't find it on the net.
if you've not gone to sleep yet, I'm really quite grateful.
No, I haven't gone to sleep yet. I'm thrilled, sat here. Right. What is your most treasured musical object?
Right, this is a bit of a sore subject, but a good one as well.
Okay.
Basically, I did try to learn to play guitar many years ago,
Oh, right.
and I was down in Bedford at a pub when me and my
Yeah.
mate Chris were doing a bit of a live act,
Okay.
and I lent him my guitar at the time, so I was doing backing vocals,
Yeah.
and he worked his way through it, and the strings went boom, and like, oh no, strings gone. I'm like, oh, okay, what do you want to do? He just looks through the list. He says, can't do this song, can't do this song, can't do this song. I'm like, fine, we'll carry on. Carries on, okay. 2 more strings went. And I'm
dear.
like, mate, we're really struggling. You and your fat fingers, you're destroying my guitar. And he goes, we can't do this song, we can't do this song. About literally 3 songs, and the last one went. And that's the last I saw of that guitar.
Really?
That's still down there in that very pub 10 years on. He never took it back. He said he's going to restring it for me. Never did.
Oh, no.
Well, up until that moment, that was my most precious object.
Can you tell us more what the guitar was? Do you know what make, model?
It wasn't a great one, admittedly. It was it was an eBay jobby for about 120 quid. It wasn't great, but it was It was playable.
That's a lot more than some of the guitars I've got, I'll tell you that. I love looking for bargains. Like we were talking earlier, I love to be able to upcycle and recycle things. So you'll find me a lot on Gumtree and eBay and stuff like that. I won't necessarily go out to the shops as much as I'd love to, but times is hard, mate.
Well, I tell you what, seeing times are hard. I saw a Les Gibson guitar for sale, an absolute beauty, in, I think, what is it, Cash Generator in Newark.
Oh, right.
They wanted £1,200 for it in a cash generator.
That's not bad if it's an original Les Paul.
I mean,
they can go up to somewhere in the region of $5,000.
Exactly. I think
and more, believe it or not.
Nice. My other favourite musical instrument is my piano.
Yes, you were telling me about that earlier.
Which currently is a great place to put my coffee cups at the present.
Hopefully with a coaster.
Yes.
Well, what can I say? If you've got a beautiful piano, don't ruin it.
Well, it's nice to look at.
Yeah. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, but you can actually play as well, can't you?
I used to play many, many years ago. I did a bit of keyboard and a bit of piano, but alas, I don't quite have the fingers for it.
So it's not like riding a bike then?
It's nothing like riding a bike.
Oh, that's a bit of a shame.
It really is. It really is, yeah.
Yeah, no, I dabble in the keys a little bit. I've got keyboards. I would love to own a piano, but to be honest, my skills don't warrant actually being able to get 6 friends to help me shift a piano, because they are heavy.
They are extraordinarily heavy. I think if we ever do move, it's staying there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Right then, alt, rock, metal, or other. What got you into the genre?
This was, I was at university, I was into, usual rock and stuff, but nothing really breathtaking. I was still quite new to it all. And all of a sudden, I heard Miles Kennedy's voice, an old bit of Alter Bridge.
Oh, right, okay.
And I just made mine playing upstairs in his room, and I just thought, that is truly incredible, that voice. And I went to him, mate, what's that? And he goes, you not heard these guys before? I was like, no, you're in for an education.
Right.
This is a mate of mine called Chris. He's now left Nottingham, unfortunately, but yeah, the education of rock music started there.
Oh, fair enough. Everyone's got their one particular band, and it's interesting to know what them bands are. Sometimes it's bands not within the genre that then leads you on to the genre. And as most people know about rock, metal, and alt, there's so many little subgenres that it falls into.
Well, exactly. I mean, another example is a mate of mine who introduced me to the Yusef Islam, or the late the Cat Stevens is now what it previously used to be known as, and really got me into the old really not
the
rock,
old Cat Stevens.
Rock, exactly, not the rock we know now, but certainly the rock back then, and a bit more soulful stuff. A lot of that, and he shared a lot of his wisdom with that kind of music. So I wouldn't say it was just one event, but certainly Miles Kennedy's voice, as it was Broken Wings, I think it was, in the first album.
Yeah,
and I was just like, yep, I could get to like this kind of stuff.
Oh, I think that's very interesting. There's a lot of older bands that I listen to as well. And to be honest, if I started the list, it would just keep going and going and going. But right then, name your most influential band or artist.
It's going to be stereotypical here, but it's going to be Queen.
Yeah?
Simply because he was just a groundbreaker. I think he combined so many different kind of types of music genre.
Yeah.
He still was considered one of the best rock kind of artists and musicians of all time. He was incredible.
I completely agree with that. Dave Everett.
Yes.
He actually said Freddie Mercury himself was his influence.
He's my granddad's idol, apparently.
Yeah?
I never knew this, yeah. I mean, it's just like the man, he represents so many different things to so many different people.
So that's two separate, 2 generations.
Oh, entirely.
Away.
I didn't know that either. My grandma told me because they went to go and see the film, and I'll tell you a story about this.
Yeah.
Well. Obviously, the film's recently come out, and I thought it was simply fantastic. And my granddad took my grandma out to go and see it. He's not been to the cinema for 50 years.
Oh, right.
But he went to go to the cinema to see Queen. That's how much it means to him.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, apparently he's quite confused. There wasn't an interval or cigarettes. Yeah, but that's how much that man means to obviously intergenerational kind of people in general.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought because he combined so many different genres, he was a groundbreaker, and all that with his own personal struggles. He personified a man who had dignity to the end.
Yeah. No, I'm completely in agreement with that. Just marvelous, really, just marvelous. Right then, name one thing you're excited about in the upcoming 6 months.
In where is it? The 21st of December, I think was it the 22nd, is the winter equinox.
Oh, right.
And I'm off down to Stonehenge to see it.
Oh, that's really cool. That is interesting.
I want to do it for years. That's the one thing I'm looking for. And Christmas, obviously, and time off work and so on and so forth. But yeah, Stonehenge for winter equinox. It's pretty. It's cool.
Yeah. Have you ever done it before?
Never. No.
Right. Oh. And that's through paganism, I'm guessing.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
I don't know if I said that wrong, but pagan.
Yeah,
paganism,
no, that's it. Yeah, it's
hopefully I'm going to get some interesting guests from the pagan side of things.
Oh, that'd be interesting to
talk
to listen to, definitely.
So if anybody's listening to this and actually wants to get involved, give me a shout at NottsRockCast@gmail.com, and I'll try and get you an interview slot booked in. Okay, moving on. In your opinion, what makes the Notts alternative scene great?
The characters.
The characters.
Definitely the characters. I think the best thing as mentioned earlier is the fact we're not a massive city.
Yeah.
And so once you get to know people, I think it's so welcoming.
Yeah.
You can go to any pub, some friendly faces. The music's great, and no one judges you. You can go in there on, for example, what's the rock night itself called?
Wildside.
Wildside, that's the one.
Yeah.
You go down to Wildside, you can dress in you can have the most flamboyant style. You can come there in a blooming, t-shirt and jeans. No one gives a damn as long as you're there for the music. Yeah. And so the best thing about the art scene here is acceptance, and everyone's here for a good time.
I think that sums it up. This is, like I keep saying, and I'm harping on like a fucking broken record player. I started this podcast simply because I couldn't find another podcast that was doing what I'm doing. Not with ease. There might be out there, and I'm going to keep saying this just to cover my own back. I don't want no one getting annoyed at me, but I couldn't find one with ease. So my idea was, I've got a recording studio. I'm just going to get on and do it.
Well, this is how these things start. You've got to take power into your own hands. If you want something to happen, something to exist, and it doesn't exist already, you have to do it yourself.
Yeah.
It's same as Rucksack project. Go back just to our general thing. It's like nothing like this happened in Nottingham or within the surrounding area. I thought, well, why not? It needs to happen, and 7 years on, it's a success. And yourself, I can imagine this will be fantastic. How long has this podcast been going for?
This will be the fourth. Yeah, this will be the fourth podcast, but I've also got the next one lined up, the fifth one, as I said, with John Roberts from the Nottingham Martial Arts Academy and Life Skills School.
Oh, I'll tune in for
so
that.
it's going to be a very interesting one.
Well, that's the thing. Just keep at it, because this is a great idea, and the fact that we've got it is such a great scene here, and I think people want to listen, they want to know about the city. Yeah, it's fantastic.
And I have made sure that you can listen to the podcast on the website. You can listen to it on iTunes, you can listen to it on Spotify, and there's also a feed available. I'm not too sure. I'll put the details on soon. I'm going to try and update that a bit more, just try and give people a helping hand. But most phones come with a podcast app, and supposedly if you type NottsRockCast in, it'll find it for you.
It found it literally. I had a look this morning. I always had a quick listen to Tony Leathers, and it took me a whole 10 seconds to find it.
Interesting character.
So, very interesting character.
Did you get the whole way through? Because I did start the podcast with the little bit him saying, I'm going to make this short.
Well, I've got 49 years of stories.
Yeah.
No, he's a proper character. So if you're listening, he's Shabba.
He is actually going to be coming back on the podcast to talk extensively about the punk scene.
That's going to be awesome.
Because it's something that he takes real pride in, and I think this is what I want to do. I just want to get people who have got interesting things to say and got passion about stuff. Like we've been saying here, the 18th of December, if you can put a rucksack together with toiletries, clothing, shoes, let's make this very clear, many shoes as you can possibly get.
Yeah.
I would donate some, but most of mine are really worn out. They're just not...
No, fair enough.
They're not fit for purpose, so...
I just want people to kind of it's to envision what it'd be like to be in the streets and to yourself, actually, what can I do with gloves, scarves, hats, something. The rucksack, put some belongings in. If they think you've got a dog, bring a couple of tins of dog food. Just try and imagine what you think someone would need on the streets this time of year, and you won't be far wrong. If you want any questions at all, I'm on Facebook. I don't mind. There's also the Facebook page itself for the Rucksack Project,
which will be going in the show notes. I will also be posting links to the webpage through the podcast and in the podcast post.
No, that's good.
The thing. What it was called then.
The only thing I'd also say is, of course, this is just a once a year thing, because of course it's Christmas, and also it is bloody cold. but also it's to raise awareness. This isn't just an annual event. This is all year round. People find themselves in the streets at all times, throughout the year. This situation is it's not getting any better. I think I spoke to one recently. It's over 100 people a day will come into that place, and it's getting worse. It really is. So it's, if you want to help, either it's down at your house or through the Hope Ministries. It's
Punks for Homeless.
Punks for Homeless, yeah.
Yeah,
for example,
that's another one.
Or
hopefully I'm getting them on soon as well.
That'd be awesome, actually.
They've actually reached out to me, and they've given me some music as well, which I'm going to be putting on at some point.
Awesome, that's good. So I won't go on too much. What I'm saying is this raises awareness, and you want to donate a bit of time, but of anything you can, really, to go and help out, do some soup runs, donate during the year. Feel free. This is not just about just this one event. It is about kind of opening people's eyes to a growing issue that needs to be addressed. And I think as a society, as a city, we need to come together and help the vulnerable people in this time. Yeah.
Okay, is there any shout-outs you want to give to anyone personally? I know he said during the break, bless him. he said during the break that he felt like he was talking too much about himself and not enough about the charity that he has started. And I think, dude, credit to yourself. You've talked enough. I'm trying to find out about the person as well as what's going on with the person, because this is what people want to listen to sometimes. So try and remember, if you can't look after number one, you can't look after anyone else at the end of the day. And I think credit to you, you're doing a fantastic job.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. I think the only shout-outs I've got is obviously Anne Bremner down at the Friary. She's dedicated the vast majority of her professional life to looking after the more vulnerable in our life, in our society, and I think that's incredible. There's so many other people that I think, given enough time and thought, I think I could certainly give a shout-out. There's quality people who do things behind the scenes for other people. There's so many good people in my life that I think are very good role models. The list could go on. I think you all probably know who you are, but a shout out to also anyone who donates this year. You're doing a great thing.
Okay. Right, I'm going to bring this to a close. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you.
We're going to bring this to a close, and we're going to have another local band to listen to. Thank you very much, Notts Rockers, for listening to NottsRockCast over YouTube. If you would like to check us out on your favourite podcast player, please search NottsRockCast. And don't forget, if you're on social media platforms, give us a like, give us a share. You'll find us at NottsRockCast. Anyway, till next time, keep it Notts, keep it rocks.
NottsRockCast is an association with Regular Riot. Welcome to NottsRockCast, the Notts Alternative Scene podcast. And here is your host, Jethro D, bringing you everything Notts and rock.